5 years into our marriage, my husband brought his mistress and their child to our home, begging me to accept them. When his mother found out, she demanded I divorce him immediately to make way for her new daughter-in-law and precious grandson. I smiled faintly and agreed at once. If someone else wanted to jump into this pit of fire, they were welcome to it. "Eleanor, hurry up and sign the divorce papers," my mother-in-law said, sitting smugly on the sofa. I couldn't help but smirk, but I forced a look of pitiful grievance and glanced at Nathan. He frowned. "Eleanor, you haven't been able to have a child all these years. Let's not waste any more time." I pinched my thigh hard, finally squeezing out a few tears. Ivy, standing to the side, said with a sneer, "Well, what can I say? My womb is just more cooperative. A son on the first try. You should probably just leave now, sister." I rolled my eyes at her comment. Who knows whose child that is? It's not like I'm the one who's infertile. Nathan pulled Ivy behind him and walked over to me, his face a mask of deep affection. "Eleanor, we've been together for so many years. You wouldn't want to see the G family line end, would you? Let's just part amicably." Looking at his hypocritical face, I felt a wave of nausea. I wanted to lunge at him and tear off his mask. I sighed and, with feigned reluctance, nodded. The faces of Nathan, his mother, and Ivy lit up. My mother-in-law let out a sigh of relief, her tone softening as she handed me the divorce agreement. "Eleanor, Mom knows you're a good girl. It's just that our families weren't meant to be. Sign this, and it'll still treat you like a daughter in the future." I sneered internally. Your own daughter hasn't visited you in years. I glanced at the agreement. I'll agree to the divorce, but the terms need to be rewritten according to my demands. Her expression changed in an instant. She shrieked, "Eleanor, don't push your luck. My son has been supporting you all these years. We're already being generous by giving you $200,000. I took a deep breath, suppressing the urge to lash out. "You were the ones who told me to quit my job and stay home to have a baby. I've served this family for years. You couldn't even hire a part-time cleaner for that price." I tore the papers in my hand. "I also contributed to the down payment for this house. Half of it is mine." She snorted. "Your name isn't on the deed. And it was just a small amount anyway." Nathan lowered his head guiltily. "Mom, Eleanor's name is on the deed." I raised an eyebrow and leaned back on the sofa, relaxed. "When we bought the house, we had agreed that I would pay the larger portion of the down payment and he would pay the smaller part, with him covering the mortgage. I could contribute to the mortgage if I was able." The day we signed the contract, he suddenly suggested putting only his name on the deed, promising the next house would be in my name. Thankfully, my mother had warned me repeatedly, "If you pay, your name goes on the deed." I refused, and seeing my insistence, he relented and added my name. The color drained from Iva's face. Nathan had promised her that once she had the baby, her name would be on the deed. My mother-in-law stormed over to him. "Didn't you tell me your name was the only one on it? This house is worth so much now. How much will she get in the divorce?" Ivy secretly pinched her son, and the baby immediately started wailing. She looked at Nathan with tear-filled eyes. "Nathan, I guess I'm just not lucky enough to be with you. But our baby is so young. He can't be homeless with me." Nathan pulled her into a comforting embrace, shooting me a dirty look. I was speechless. It's not like I had asked him to cheat. My mother-in-law's expression softened again. "Eleanor, you've been in this family for 5 years. I've been good to you, haven't I?" Watching her face change so quickly, I thought it was a shame she wasn't an actress. "Mom, for all these years, I've cleaned the house, done the laundry, cooked the meals, changed the light bulbs, and unclogged the toilets. Do you really think you've been good to me?" Her face fell. "Isn't that what a wife is supposed to do?" I pulled my sleeve from her grasp and looked at the three of them. $3 million. Give me $3 million. And I'll sign." Nathan pushed Ivy aside and stormed over to me. $3 million. Why don't you just rob a bank? I provided the startup capital for your business. Without me, you wouldn't be where you are today." I crossed my arms and watched him, completely at ease. His mother pulled him aside. "Then let's not get a divorce. We'll just drag it out and see what you can do." Ivy started sobbing again. "Nathan, our son will be starting school in a couple of years. Are you going to let him live with the label of a bastard?" I had to admire her ability to cry on cue. Nathan thought for a long time. His company was about to enter its second round of financing. If I made a scene now, it would all be over. He glanced at me, his tone contemptuous. Fine. 3 million. But after the divorce, you are not to set foot in this city again. I rolled my eyes. If you hadn't begged me to come here with you, I would have never left my hometown in the first place. We went to the registry office to file for divorce. If not for the 1-month cooling-off period, I would have left that very second. When I went home to pack, Ivy was already moving in. She carried her things into the master bedroom and then challenged me. Since you're divorced, you're not planning on staying here, are you? I finished packing, grabbed my suitcase, and walked out without a word, afraid I would change my mind. Nathan transferred 1 million to my account immediately. Seeing the number, my mood lifted. I checked into a luxury hotel to wait out the month. Lying in the bathtub, I looked out at the bustling city and thought about my past with Nathan. I was born and raised in Binhai. 10 years ago, I was accepted into the local university's Chinese literature department. At a New Year's party during my sophomore year, I met Nathan, who was a graduate student there. I was tall and attractive, and ID had my share of admirers. But he was different. I was straightforward, so most guys were direct with me. I accepted the ones I liked and rejected the ones I didn't. But Nathan used a slow burn approach, constantly checking in, giving small gifts, taking me to movies, but never officially asking me out. After a while, I grew impatient and tried to make him jealous by hanging out with other guys. It worked. He finally confessed his feelings. After we got together, he treated me well. When he graduated with his master's degree, I was finishing my bachelor's. He convinced me to move back to his hometown, Zhejiang, with him. But I had lived in Binhai my whole life and was hesitant. He held me, tears in his eyes, saying he didn't want to break up or do long distance. Seeing him so miserable, my heart softened. Against my family's wishes, I moved with him. In Xinjiang, I found a job as a magazine editor, and he started his own business. After a year of struggling, his business was still going nowhere. Seeing him work so hard every day, I felt for him. I invested all the money I had saved during college and asked a relative in finance to introduce him to clients. 6 months later, his company took off, and he proposed. Shortly after we were married, he asked me to quit my job to focus on having a baby, saying he could support me. The first year, I didn't get pregnant. He told me not to worry. The second year, I didn't get pregnant. His mother made me drink all sorts of herbal remedies. He said nothing. The third year, I didn't get pregnant. He was visibly displeased and rarely came home. The fourth year, I didn't get pregnant. We fought constantly, and he moved out. The fifth year, I didn't get pregnant. He brought home another woman and their child and asked for a divorce. The doorbell snapped me out of my thoughts. I wrapped myself in a robe and opened the door. It was his sister, Lily. She smiled and waved. "How did you find me?" I asked. She made herself at home on the sofa. "I came to congratulate you on escaping that hellhole. How did you know we're getting a divorce? That woman posted about it online." "Of course I know." I frowned. Lily explained that she and Nathan were junior high classmates and each other's first love. His mother had broken them up. It seemed there was a lot he had lied to me about over the years. She poured herself a glass of water. "After all these years with my family, you're just leaving. Don't you feel it's a pity?" I smiled. "Leaving is just the first step. The real show is yet to come." She sidled up to me. "What are you planning? Tell me. That's your mother and your brother. Are you really that eager to see them fall?" "They stopped being my family the day they tried to sell me off," she said nonchalantly. Her parents had always favored their son. Lily grew up with her grandparents. When they passed away when she was 8, her parents finally took her in. When she was in high school, her father passed away. Her mother said she couldn't afford to keep her in school and wanted her to drop out. It was only after a lot of persuading from Lily and the school offering to waive her tuition, that her mother relented. When she got into university, her mother didn't give her a single cent for tuition or living expenses. When I found out, I would occasionally send her some money. 2 years ago, when Nathan's company was struggling, her mother tried to marry her off to a 50-year-old man in exchange for funding. Lily refused, ran away, and had never been back. "Come on, ex-sister-in-law. Just tell me," she pleaded, tugging at my arm. "I'm not your sister-in-law anymore. Don't call me that. Then I'll call you Eleanor. I took 2 reports from my bag and handed them to her. She looked at them, confused, then let out a sharp cry. Nathan's sperm motility is only 10. That child isn't his. 3 months ago, I had begged him to go with me for a fertility checkup. Worn down by my persistence, he had reluctantly agreed. He left right after the tests, and I picked up the results alone. My tests had always come back normal. The doctor suggested he get tested too. When I brought it up, he got angry, insisting there was nothing wrong with him. When I saw the child, I finally understood his confidence. I took the reports back. It's not time to reveal this yet. Okay. Just let me know beforehand so I can watch the fireworks. The only thing is, we don't know who the real father is, I said. Lily's interest was piqued. I'll go find out for you. Ivy was lounging on the sofa, eating grapes and watching TV, laughing. My mother-in-law came out, holding her grandson, and seethed at the sight of her. She cooed to the baby, "My dear grandson, when you get married, don't you forget your mother. Always be good to your own mom first." Ivy pretended not to understand. "Mom, he's only 2. He doesn't understand." That only made her angrier. Nathan came out, tying his tie. "Ivy, why isn't my shirt ironed? And where's my tie clip?" "I have to go." Ivy was unfazed. "I'm not your maid. How should I know where your tie clip is?" My mother-in-law pointed a finger at him. "If it wasn't for the child, I would never have let her in this house." That set Ivy off. "If Nathan hadn't begged me to have this baby, I wouldn't have wanted to set foot in this house. Such a big house. And you can't even hire a maid. You're done with Eleanor. And now you want to boss me around. No way." Nathan was stuck in the middle, trying to placate both of them. The doorbell rang. He escaped the chaos to answer it. "What are you doing back?" It was Lily, with all her bags. "Mom, brother, I got fired." She collapsed onto the sofa and burst into tears. "Mom, I should have listened to you and married Mr. Lou." Her crying stopped the argument. My mother-in-law sat beside her. "If you had listened to me, you'd be a rich man's wife by now." "Well, Mr. Lou got married last year. I'll find you someone even richer next time." Ivy, holding her baby, sneered at the 2 of them. Lily, in her mother's arms, rolled her eyes. "If it wasn't for the drama, I would never have come back." I was lying in bed watching TV when my phone started buzzing nonstop. Ever since Lily went back, she had been sending me daily updates on the family drama. One day, it was her mother complaining about Ivy not doing housework. The next, it was about Ivy constantly asking Nathan for money. Perhaps it was true love, because Nathan usually took Ivy's side. Annoyed, I finally opened my phone. Lily said something big had happened. Ivy had cost Nathan a major client. I was intrigued. Nathan might be a terrible person, but he was a diligent worker. I texted Lily, "Holiday Cafe. See you in 20 minutes. This was too good not to discuss in person. I was sitting by the window, sipping my coffee, when Lily rushed in, her face flushed with excitement. "Nathan is in deep trouble this time," she said, still out of breath. "What happened?" I asked. "He met with a huge client a few days ago. He said if he could close this deal, the family would be set for life. But that night, Ivy got into a fight with my mom and kept calling him. He turned off his phone, so she got his location from his secretary and crashed the dinner. He was furious with her for days. She took a long drink of water, but, as luck would have it, the client didn't back out. But on the day of the signing, Ivy, still mad about the fight, tore up the contract and hid the USB drive. I took a slow sip of my coffee. "Your brother is so meticulous. He didn't have a backup." Lily grinned. "Of course he did." But Ivy, being the genius she is, physically restrained him from leaving. I raised an eyebrow. I had thought Ivy was just a gold digger, but it seemed she was also reckless. By the time he calmed her down and got to the meeting, the client was already on a plane. I remembered a time when Nathan had left a contract at home and called me to bring it to him. I had rushed over, spraining my ankle in the process, only to be met with a "what took you so long?" Lily broke my train of thought. "But I've been back for 2 weeks now, and I haven't seen her contact anyone else." I closed my eyes, enjoying the warm sun. "Don't worry, the truth will come out eventually." As I was walking through the hotel lobby, I saw a familiar face. "Long time no see, Eleanor." It was Alex. He walked over to greet me. "Long time no see." What brings you to Xinjiang? I'm here to meet a client. Are you staying here? I smiled. Just for a few days. I'm heading back after I finalize my divorce. He looked shocked. You're getting a divorce. I nodded. I have to go. Let's get dinner sometime, I said, waving goodbye. Back in my room, I lay on the bed, staring into space. Alex and I were high school classmates. We were both popular, with similar backgrounds and interests. We started dating naturally after graduation. But he went to university in another city, and the distance took its toll. On Valentine's Day during my freshman year, all my roommates were with their boyfriends. I called him, but he said he was busy with a lab experiment and would make it up to me later. I broke up with him after that. He tried to win me back a few times, but I refused. 6 months later, I met Nathan. In the middle of the night, my phone rang, waking me up. I answered without looking. Hello. Silence. Who is this? Still nothing. Just as I was about to hang up, a voice came through. It was Nathan, his voice slurred with alcohol. Eleanor, I wish things were like they used to be. I wish you could have a child. I laughed. Get lost. The day to finalize the divorce finally arrived. I was at the registry office early, waiting. I waited for a long time, but Nathan never showed. He didn't answer his phone. I had no choice but to get Iva's number from Lily. Hello. Who is this? Iva's voice came through the phone. The registry office closes in less than an hour. If we don't do this today, the price goes up next time. She slammed the phone down. 20 minutes later, Nathan finally appeared. Let's get this over with, I said. Eleanor. Before he could finish, a car horn blared behind him. Ivy was in the car with the baby, impatient, as the clerk handed me the stamped divorce certificate. My marriage to Nathan was officially over. Walking out of the building, I felt a sense of freedom. Seeing me so happy only seemed to depress him more. Eleanor, will we see each other again? I turned and looked at him, and suddenly I couldn't believe I had ever been attracted to this man. Take a good look at yourself. Do you really think you're memorable? I used to be gentle and kind around him. Over time, I had almost forgotten my own bright, straightforward nature. As he stared at me, stunned, I turned and walked away. Back at the hotel, Alex called. I hesitated. I had just escaped one fire. I didn't want to jump into another. I knew what he wanted. He had tried to win me back the year I married Nathan. He had even called me during my marriage, but I had firmly rejected him. I answered, wanting to make things clear. We agreed to meet at a restaurant. At 7, I arrived at a place called Lover's Restaurant. I saw him waving at me. I ordered your favorites. Smoked salmon and escargots. See if there's anything else you want. He eagerly handed me the menu. A medium-well filet mignon and a cream of mushroom soup. Cancel his order. I smiled at his embarrassed face. My tastes have changed over the years. He quickly recovered. When are you heading back to Binhai? In a few days. Just as he was about to ask another question, an angry voice interrupted. So that's why you were in such a hurry to divorce. You already had someone else lined up. It was Nathan, with Ivy trailing behind him. A smirk on her face. She ran to his side. Nathan, see. She had someone else all along. And she was pretending to be so innocent while taking all your money. That set him off. He was about to grab Alex. I sighed. Nathan, not everyone is a cheater like you. Their commotion drew a lot of attention. He was red with embarrassment. He still didn't believe me. Eleanor, did you divorce me for him? I really felt like his brain was made of mush. I rolled my eyes. We just ran into each other a few days ago, and you have no right to question me anymore. The reality of our divorce seemed to hit him then. He looked lost for a moment and reached for me. I stepped back, and a flicker of hurt crossed his eyes. Ivy, embarrassed by the whispers and stares, dragged him out of the restaurant. After they left, I was still the center of attention. Alex suggested, maybe we should go somewhere else. I shook my head and started eating my steak. The food here is good, and this isn't my fault. Why should I leave? Let them stare. He laughed. You've really changed. The old you would have confronted them. 5 years of marriage to Nathan had taught me a lot. The first year I didn't get pregnant. His mother was still decent to me. But in the second year, her attitude changed. She was constantly making snide remarks, lamenting that the neighbors had a new grandson, calling me a barren hen. At first, I would argue with her and cry to Nathan. But over time, I just stopped reacting, which only made her angrier. That night, I made my feelings clear to Alex. He gave me a hug and promised not to bother me again. When I got back to my hotel, Nathan was waiting outside my room. He reeked of alcohol. "How did you know I was staying here?" He stumbled towards me. "One of my clients saw you here. We're divorced. Please don't bother me again." He suddenly pulled me into a hug, his tears wetting my ear. "Wife, I regret it. After you left, the house doesn't feel like a home anymore. It's just endless fighting between Ivy and my mom." I shoved him away. "You don't regret divorcing me. You just miss having a free maid. I used to be so submissive. You and your mother treated me however you wanted. You never once stood up for me. And now you're here, acting all sentimental. It's disgusting." He just shook his head, his eyes red, muttering, "It shouldn't have been like this." I turned away. "Leave, or I'm calling the police." He left, looking dazed. I quickly swiped my key card and locked the door behind me. The next day, a former colleague from the magazine, Lily, asked to meet. She handed me a thick envelope. "Your ex-husband's mistress has quite a history." We had started at the magazine on the same day and had always been close. Even after I quit, we kept in touch. The envelope was full of photos of Ivy with different men. "The child was conceived 2 years ago," she said, pointing to a photo. "Going by the dates, this is the father." She told me that for years, Ivy had been using her looks to get by, hanging around a group of rich heirs. 3 years ago, she was even about to marry one. But his family went bankrupt, and he ended up in jail. She was already pregnant at the time. I remembered that was when Nathan started staying out all night. He must have reconnected with her then. And when she got pregnant, he assumed the child was his. Lily had messaged me a few days ago, saying Ivy was pushing for marriage, but Nathan was avoiding it. Looking at all the different men in the photos, it seemed she was getting desperate to find a new provider. She was getting anxious. The baby looked less and less like Nathan every day. She needed to make a plan. I had changed hotels after Nathan showed up. I booked a flight back to Binhai and spent the next few days saying goodbye to my friends. Lily insisted on staying with me for my last 2 nights. She and my other friend, Lee Rong, saw me off at the airport. Lily's eyes were swollen. "Eleanor, I'll come visit you." Lee Rong just gave me a hug. "Call me if you need anything." Nathan was standing in the distance, hesitating. I pretended not to see him and walked through the security gate. Looking down at the city from the plane, I thought about how beautiful it was, but it held too many painful memories. I probably wouldn't be back. My parents were waiting for me at the airport. I ran into their arms and finally let myself cry. I hadn't cried when his mother berated me, or when he ignored me, or when Ivy provoked me. I hadn't even cried when I found out he had cheated. My parents held me, comforting me. The house was just as I remembered it. The familiar comfort was soothing. In 5 years of marriage, I had only been home 3 times, and each time, his mother had rushed me back. Seeing the gray in my parents' hair, I was filled with guilt. But now I was back for good. I spent the next few months at home, eating and sleeping. My parents never asked about the divorce, afraid of upsetting me. A year ago, when I first suspected he was cheating, I had asked Lee Rong to investigate. When I found out he had a child, I was actually a little happy. At least I would get a larger settlement. I knew there was nothing wrong with me and had suspected the problem was with him. But the child made me doubt myself. I insisted we both get tested, knowing his arrogance would make him ignore the results. When I got the report, I was ecstatic. It felt like justice. When I told my parents I was getting a divorce, they wanted to come and support me, but I told them I could handle it. Before I left Xinjiang, I sent him his medical report and anonymously sent 2 copies of the photos of Ivy to both him and her. I imagine their house was in chaos. "Eleanor, dinner's ready. I made your favorite cola chicken wings." My parents' voices pulled me from my thoughts. At the dinner table, they kept exchanging nervous glances. I smiled. "Dad, Mom, what is it?" My dad cleared his throat. "That Uncle Fong, the one who works with Nathan, should we say something to him?" He was the client I had introduced Nathan to 5 years ago. They had been working together ever since. "Just tell him we're divorced. As for their business, that's for him to decide." After a few months of rest, I decided to start working again. I had been a housewife for 5 years and was out of touch. I decided to pick up my pen again and become a writer. I would start with my own story. The day Nathan found out Eleanor was leaving, he dropped everything and rushed to the airport to try and stop her. But when he saw her, he hesitated. He didn't know what to say. He sat in his car, dejected. When his phone lit up, it was a message from her. His eyes brightened. But when he read it, the color drained from his face. He didn't believe the report. He consulted a doctor, who confirmed that with his sperm motility, having a child was highly unlikely. He thought back to 3 years ago, when he had run into Ivy again. At the time, his mother was constantly pressuring him and Eleanor to have a child. The house reeked of herbal medicines. Eleanor's face was sallow from all the concoctions she had to drink. He had lost all interest. He was drinking at a bar when he saw Ivy. She looked as beautiful as ever. On impulse, he went to a hotel with her. At first, he felt guilty. He thought he loved Eleanor. But faced with a choice between a gloomy wife and a beautiful, vibrant mistress, he chose the latter. When she told him she was pregnant, his guilt was overshadowed by his joy. When the baby was born, the guilt vanished completely. When his mother found out about the child, she and Ivy pressured him to get a divorce. When he got home, his mother shoved a stack of photos in his face. He was livid. Ivy had also received the photos. Terrified, she went back to his house to grab some money and run. But he was there waiting for her. He threw the photos and the medical report in her face. She knew it was over. She dropped the baby and tried to run. But he caught her. By the time Lily told me about this, I had already started a new chapter in my life. She later told me that he had beaten Ivy half to death that day. She managed to call the police. Since they weren't married, she sued him for assault. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison. The company's board of directors voted to oust him. The family lost their source of income. His mother tried to marry Lily off to a disabled rich heir for money. But Lily ran away again. His mother got a DNA test done. The results confirmed he was not the father. She cursed Ivy for ruining her family and cuckolding her son. Ivy took the money she had received as compensation, sold a few valuable items from the house, and disappeared with the child. After listening to Lily's voice messages, I put down my phone. I looked at the document on my computer screen and started writing the first chapter of my new book. Someone once asked me, if Nathan ever got out of prison, rebuilt his life, and came back to you, would you take him back? I believe my answer was, trash belongs in the trash can. Epilogue. The first year after the divorce, I became a writer and started a new life. I was happy and fulfilled. The second year, my parents started asking about my love life. I told them my focus was on my life and I wasn't considering dating. The third year, my first book was published to positive reviews. I signed with a literary agency and got along well with my new colleagues. The fourth year, my relatives tried to set me up on blind dates. I refused at first, but seeing the hope in my parents' eyes, I went. The man was a police officer. He was handsome, my type, and had a great personality. We kept in touch. He said he didn't mind that I was divorced. 6 months later, we were together. He was busy with work, and so was I. So I didn't have time to miss him too much. We traveled together, read together. He was always surprising me with little romantic gestures. The 5th year, we got married. My failed marriage hadn't destroyed my faith in love. Our marriage was happy, with no drama, no evil mother-in-law. The 6th year, I got pregnant. He was incredibly attentive. No matter how late he came home from work, he would kiss my cheek, then my belly, and tell the baby how hard I had worked that day. I had a beautiful baby girl after the new year. He didn't neglect me after the birth. When the baby cried at night, he was always the first one to wake up. The 7th year, my third book was published. At the book signing, I saw Nathan standing by the door. He had lost all his former vigor. I wouldn't have recognized him on the street. I pretended not to see him. After the event, my husband was waiting for me by the car, holding our daughter. I ran to him, overjoyed. My misfortune was long over. A future full of happiness awaited me.